Hello again, friends. Dave here. I'm a developer relations engineer at Chainlink Labs. I decided to make another friendly neighborhood video for you all, this time on CCT, cross-chain tokens. CCT helps eliminate some of that pain we've all felt before as blockchain devs, brings a streamlined, decentralized way to do token transfers across blockchains, all powered by CCIP, Chainlink's cross-chain interoperability protocol. In this video, we'll build an ERC-677 token that follows the CCT standard. But we'll do it this time all in Foundry, and it is fast. I'll explain the key features, the code requirements, and I'll show you how to implement everything step by step. By the end of this video, you'll have a fully functional CCIP-enabled token contract deployed, your tokens minted, and you'll have successfully sent those tokens cross-chain using CCIP. Are you ready? Let's get building. Today, we are going to use Foundry to make our cross-chain token. Now, if this is the first video that you're actually watching and you're looking to take the Chainlink certification, I highly recommend check out, you'll see this URL up above, check out the deploy and register using Remix IDE. In that video, I go through each existing smart contract. So you'll get a much better understanding of all the parameters and what everything is doing. Foundry, and I love Foundry. So Foundry is so fast. It's simple. We're going to have a configuration file. So I recommend, going through this tutorial, this video, you can slow me down, speed me up, whatever works for you. But once you get the hang of this and you understand all of the steps, Foundry is my personal favorite to be able to go through. Hardhat is great too. I use Hardhat for things, but you will see you do have to remember the addresses for both the tokens you're deploying and the token pools. So it can be a lot, whereas Foundry is very streamlined. In fact, this will probably be the shortest of the videos. But again, feel free to pause this, go back, watch the other video, go through the documentation, check out the blog post. I want to make sure that you understand what is happening with all of these different smart contracts. And so if you recall from the blog post or the other video, you'll see we're going to go through the same kind of steps. So if we look over here to the right, we're going to deploy our tokens to two chains, okay? And in this video, the source chain we're going to use is Avalanche Fuji's testnet. The destination chain that we're going to use is Arbitrum Sequoia. Now, you can change both of those in the configuration file, and I'll show you where in a second. But the steps are, we're going to go ahead and deploy our tokens on both of those chains. Then we're going to deploy the token pools on both of those chains. We're going to claim the admin role. And remember, for security purposes, this is always a two-step process. So we claim the admin role, accept the admin role. Then we're going to set the token pool for each of our tokens. We're going to configure the token pools so they understand using CCIP how to get to both the destination and source chains. Then we're going to mint some tokens on the source chain. So we're going to mint some tokens on Avalanche Fuji. You have the ability when you mint to pay with both native tokens or link tokens. By default, it's set up to be native tokens. And then we're going to transfer those tokens from Avalanche Fuji to Arbitrum Sequoia, right? So this should be a lot of fun. It should be quick. I want you to know, you can, when you come to this page too, if you're like, Dave, where's the Foundry thing? We got this Dropbox, set up this drop down. You can make sure you are on Foundry, and you'll see all of the steps are covered here. Again, if you watched the remix video, you would have seen me manually actually bring in each one of these smart contracts into Remix and interact with it. We're just going to use some Foundry scripts to call these smart contracts. And we set everything up ahead of time in the environment file. I'll show you where to do all of that. So we're going to call the first smart contract we're going to call is BurnMint ERC-677. This is where we will go ahead and create our tokens. For CCT, it has to be based on an ERC20 token, and we happen to use the ERC-677, which is based on ERC20. Once your tokens are deployed, we're going to call the burn mint token pool. Okay, so this is going to build our token pools both on Fuji and Arbitrum Sequoia. Then we're going to claim and the mint, and we're going to accept the admin roles. So these are all the same contracts you would have saw us call before. Again, it's going to be very fast, just running through Foundry scripts. Then we're going to call the token admin registry, and we're going to set the pool for each respective token pool. We're going to apply the chain updates so we understand all of the different parameters. This is where we can set pool limits, enable the destination chain, and then we're going to mint on Avalanche Fuji. The EOA that I'm using up here, by the way, is MetaMask. If you're watching this Foundry video, I'm assuming you know how to install MetaMask. You may already have it installed. Make sure you do have some tokens set up ahead of time. It is very low gas. I think it's probably like 0.1 or 0.05 I spent across everything. So you can see I have both native tokens in Avalanche Fuji here, and Arbitrum Sequoia I have a little bit as well. If you do need tokens, you can go, and you'll see this in the documentation too, but you can go up to our Chainlink faucet here, and you have the ability to get both native tokens and link tokens. And if you want to add those addresses to MetaMask, you'll see that on our link tokens contracts page. And this is, make sure you're just having testnet and you add it over here. One of the other things when we go through, the scripts will verify your smart contract. So make sure both through, Arbiscan and Escan that you've set up an account, and then you have the ability in the account to get an API. And that API key will allow you to enter that key in the environment variables. So it actually does a check for you, but you can do a manual check. I have seen some things, we'll see when we record this video, sometimes on testnet Arbitrum, it returns invalid code, even though it is a API key. I've had a new API key. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So I've just got it loaded up here so we can go ahead and look at that as we create. So let's close these. And then finally, we'll transfer the tokens at the end. And that's the fun part when you actually get to go up on the CCIP Explorer and see all of that. So a couple little things before we start. We start running the scripts. Typical stuff. This is the same as in the other tutorials you've seen me do. Make sure that you're using Node version 18. And you have steps here. You can... I just love our documentation, how you have the ability to just copy things right from it. So you'll have the ability here to go through step by step. Make sure you do all of that. Make sure you pull down our GitHub, and then you're going to set up an environment file. This is where you will put your API keys for both Escan, Arbiscan, and then Arbitrum and Fuji. You need your RPCs. You should feel free to use whatever RPC URL that you like. I happen to use Alchemy. I find it works well for me, but do feel free to use all of that. If you've never set up any of these API keys, we have guides right here that you can go in. It takes a couple minutes and it's free. Pretty easy to do. And then, of course, private key, you want to make sure you put your private key in here from your wallet. Do not share that. I will make sure I'm not showing that on camera, but you can get that from in MetaMask. You can go in here and you can go under account details and you'll see view private key under there. Then you want to make sure once you create all of those environment files that you load everything in the terminal, and then we're going to install Foundry and we're going to go ahead and compile. Okay. So I'll show you here in VS Code. I'm going to do everything in VS Code. If we, let's move this up a little bit. You'll see I've already done these steps. So I'm making sure I'm using Node version 18. I verified that. You'll see here is the smart contract GitHub repo that I've pulled down. And we're in the Foundry folder underneath CCIP CCT. I go ahead and make sure I pulled in all of my source variables, and then I'm going to go ahead and compile. And you should see compiler run successful. It'll automatically pick 8.24, which is what we're doing for everything with that Solidity version. Now, the environment files you'll see right here, it's the same that you saw in the documentation. Feel free to pause me, go right back to the documentation if you want to follow along. Make sure you get all of this filled out, and then again, do a source.env to make sure you load all of that up. In the configuration file, this is what saves us all that time. So when you watched my other videos and you saw me manually setting everything up in scripts, or you saw me manually putting it in Remix, we have this nice configuration file with Foundry, and we're setting everything up here. So we're going to create these tokens that we're going to use. This is going to be our CCT token on both chains. So this is the name of the token, the symbol of the token, the amount of decimal places, max supply 0 is infinite, and then we just have these default values here for when we're doing the CCIP admin. When we eventually mint, this is the amount we want to mint, and this is the amount we want to do cross-chain. We want to use native tokens. You should feel free to change that to Link. And then these are the codes for the remote chains. So we're telling Fuji to connect with Arbitrum and Arbitrum to connect with Fuji. You can get all of those IDs on the CCIP documentation. If you want to change to any different chains while you do this, you're not forced to have what's ever in the configuration file. But that's where you change all of that. Now, the team has this nice README file here. It's actually exactly what you see in the documentation. So you can go to setup. It'll explain everything, your configuration file, the scripts. You can see everything. All the scripts that we're going to run are right here. You have the ability to open those up, change anything. It'll explain every single parameter for you. So, you can go back, you can listen to me explain it, or you can go ahead and look at everything right here. Walking through, here's all the different environment variables. You'll see all the same links. You have the ability to go ahead and hit Alchemy or any other area where you want RPC. All right. Now, the first script that we're going to run is deploy token. And if we come up here in the README, you'll see this is what's going to deploy a new ERC67 token contract. And this is what our script looks like. You'll see it's going to go ahead and pull in the RPC URL. In this case, that RPC URL, we're going to use Fuji, and then we're going to use Arbitrum. It's going to use our private key, and we're going to attempt to verify. Now, if you want to look at any of these scripts, documentation team has done a really good job of naming all of the scripts exactly the steps that we're doing. So you'll see deploy token, it's right over here. I can walk through. You can see we're pulling in all of that information from our configuration I showed before, and then we're going to go ahead and call those same smart contracts that we called in the Remix video. We're just passing in the parameters, so it's making it a lot faster. We're also going to write out in output. You're going to see there's a lot of logging with this, which I love. So as you're going through, you're getting it echoed back here in terminal, but you're also going to see everything that's happening out through log files, which you can go back to later. So let's go ahead down here and let's deploy our first one to Fuji. So you'll see here, I'm using the RPC URL for Fuji, my private key, and I'm telling it to verify. It's going to go ahead and compile. And you'll usually see this. Sometimes it'll be pending in queue to go ahead and verify on Fuji. It depends. Sometimes it's super fast. Sometimes it'll be pending. But the actual address you'll see right here. You can go ahead and copy that. You won't need to because the actual scripts will remember. But I just like to, for my own benefit, have these in a file as I'm going through. So I'm going to go ahead and copy and save that contract. But you could go up right now on the Explorer and you would see that. So you could see the contract is verified. So that contract exists. Everything is good to go. So we now have, and you'll see it actually does give you this URL too. So we now have this up there sitting. If I were to go ahead and copy this and go over, you'll see everything's sitting up here. and we have the grant mint. Everything is good to go, and you'll see it is right here F7. So it has come up from my my wallet address, my EOA. So we are looking good. Now let's go ahead and jump back into what is code, and now we need to deploy it up on Arbitrum. Okay, and let's paste this in, and we'll have our Arbitrum. Going to go ahead and compile, setting that up. All right, now let's copy that address over. Okay, this is the error I was talking about. Even though it's a valid API key, sometimes it comes back with that. So no worries. We'll just hop over, and we are on testnet. So this is Sequoia Arbiscan IO. We'll paste in that contract, and you'll see everything is good. And we got the grant mint and admin roles. Same thing, F7 and F7 up here. So everything's looking good. Next step. So if we go over into our preview here, let's go back up. After we deploy those tokens, remember now we need to deploy the token pools. So we'll come up here. That script is going to be called deploy burn mint token pools. Now remember, if you read the blog post, you've seen my other videos, there's two kinds, burn and mint. We're actually going to burn in on the source chain and mint on the destination. With lock and release, we're going to actually wrap the tokens. So the one we want is burn and mint, in case you click the wrong one and you're wondering where that is. You'll see here, same thing. It's very simple with Foundry. It's just that script, the RPC URL. So we're going to do the same thing for Fuji, and we're going to do the same thing for Arbitrum. Again, if you want to go ahead and look at the script, you'll see it here. We're calling into the library. Everything is going to be stored for us. So it's going to know, it's going to put into memory what the address was so that we can go ahead and we don't have to write everything down, but I do like to write it down just in case. And then we're going to walk through and everything's going to be logged. Okay, so super easy. We're going to go ahead and fire that off. So you can see right here, my RPC is Fuji, and that is the deploy burn mint token pool. And that's the chain ID you can see up there. I'm going to go ahead and copy that, just so I have my Fuji token pool. Okay, contract is verified. We are doing good. No green checkboxes like we had in the remix video, but we get an exclamation point, which I'll take, as well as pass and verified. So now we need to go on to Arbitrum. Let's fire it off. Okay, let's copy that address down. Again, got the little error here, no biggie. We'll pop on over here, and you'll see we are all set up, and it came from F7, so looking good. We got both the tokens and the pools. So if we go back to this, you'll notice here, after we deploy the token in the pool, we need to claim the admin role and then accept the admin role. Remember, it's a two-step process for security purposes. So let's go ahead and claim our admin role on both chains. So this one is for Fuji. We're going to claim the admin role. And this is setting the admin role up for our EOA, which is this MetaMask wallet that you saw I have set up here. And let's go ahead and claim it on Arbitrum. Looking good, looking good. Oh, look, we got green checkboxes, everybody. Yay. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and accept those admin roles. It's always difficult accepting responsibility, right? Especially as an admin. But we're going to do it for demo purposes. Okay, green checkboxes we have accepted. Now we're going to accept on Arbitrum. Okay, green checkboxes galore. So now, if we go back to the documentation over here, you see, after we accept the admin role, now we need to set the token pool. So those token pools that we created on each chain for each token, we now need to link the pools to those tokens. So this is going to set that up, and everything is going to be echoed back for us. So that is going to be the set pool script. Let's go back over here. If we come up here, pretty simple, set pool script. And we're going to verify at the end. This is calling that smart contract token admin registry. So if you watch the remix video, you'll see me actually select that from the library and all the parameters that we call on there. But you can go ahead and you can look at the set pool script. It's basically doing the same thing. It's calling out to that smart contract, and then it's passing in the parameters for a token admin registry. Okay, so we're setting the pool and the admin and the pool address, and then it's saying who did this action, and it's logging everything for us too because it's so kind. Okay, so let's set the pool on Fuji. All right, green check boxes. Now let's set the pool on Arbitrum. All right, everything's looking good. Now we need to go in and we need to apply the chain updates. So this is going to set the router for the remote chains and the responding token pool. All right, so if we go up here, and we look at apply chain updates, you'll see this is what's going to read from our config file. This is where we can set limits. We can do all of that. Apply chain updates script in here. You'll see this is calling into token pool smart contract, and we have everything passed in from the configuration file. So pretty straightforward. Again, it makes it very easy. Token pool would have been what I would have selected in Remix if you watched that video, but now it's doing it all through scripts and really fast and easy to do. So let's go ahead and apply those chain updates. So what you can see here is I'm going to go ahead and apply the chain updates to Fuji. All right, green checkboxes. Now we need to apply the same updates to Sequoia. Okay, looking good. Now, if we go back to here, you'll see after we've applied the chain updates, we're on mint tokens. Okay, so if we come over here, scroll up to the README, and minting's always fun. Who doesn't like to mint tokens, right? So you'll see we have mint tokens. This is going to pull from the configuration file. And remember, we're going to mint on our source chain. So we're going to mint on Sequoia. So, if you watch the remix video, you would have seen me select this burn mint ERC677 smart contract and then call that mint function on there. We're going to actually just do this through a script. Easy peasy, right? So let's go ahead and mint some tokens. And if you forgot the amount here, if I open my config.json, you can see right here, here's the total amount to mint. And you should feel free to change that if you so wish. Okay, so let's go ahead and mint some new tokens. All right, we are minting on Fuji. All right, green checkboxes. Now for the final part, it's It's funny. I just watched the new James Gunn Superman trailer. He's rebooting the DC universe, so I have the Superman song in my head. It feels like it's time for a Superman song. I mean, we're going to transfer tokens securely across blockchains, but I will spare you the horror of hearing me sing. Instead, I will show you what smart contract we're going to call here. Okay, so in the last step, we have a nice little script. Again, everything's named after the processes. So transfer tokens is what we're going to call. All right, and if you look in here, transfer tokens is we're basically going to transfer the tokens from our source chain, Avalanche Fuji, to our destination, Arbitrum Sequoia, securely using CCIP. Remember, in config, we said we want to use native tokens. So it's going to take our native Fuji tokens and it's going to go ahead and put them into Link for us. You should feel free. You could use Link if you wanted to. And then we're actually going to call the token... we're going to look at token amount to transfer, the fee type, destination that you've seen in the config. And then what we're going to do is call CCIP send. So if you've done anything programmatically with the CCIP before, this client EV M2 any message should look super familiar. I know a lot of you have done that. And it's basically calling a CCIP send right here at the end with the destination chain. So with that, I hope everybody is as excited. I know it's been, the suspense has been building up, right? We've put in all this work. We've run our scripts. We've gotten our checkboxes. Let's send some tokens, folks. We're compiling our script. Now, there is a CCIP Explorer up at ccip.chain.link, and the script will actually give us a nice handy dandy URL you can see right here. And this is the message ID. So this message ID will continue to exist. It's public. You can go ahead and, after you're watching this video, if you want to be like, hey, I want to see what Dave did out there, you can go ahead and look up this message. You'll see source is finalized. That means everything's good on Fuji. We're sending to Sequoia. So remember, this was our source chain, our destination chain. You can see origin from and to. So everything is going from our EOA wallet. All right, we're going to send from Fuji, and we're going to put it into Arbitrum Sequoia. Remember, this was the token symbol right here, BNMKH. And this was the amount we wanted to go ahead and send 10,000. We are paying in native, which is why you see this wrapped AVAX here. And that is the amount in Link. So it is now committed. After source is finalized, it'll go to committed, then it'll be blessed, and then it'll be finalized. So when you see those status messages change, everything is looking good. All right. I sped up the time a little bit, took about 5 minutes. Sometimes it'll, take a minute. I've seen it take 20 minutes. It all depends on test nets. And congratulations, we have a success. So we have created tokens on both Fuji and Arbitrum. We have created pools that can mint those tokens. And then using CIP, we minted on Fuji and we transferred securely to Arbitrum. Now, this is a public message here. So if we go over and maybe you wanted to check it out, you can see here, here's the CCIP Explorer. And you're like, I want to look at what Dave did in the demo. Pull up this message anytime and go back. Congratulations, superstar. You've created your very own CCT token, burn and mint token pools, all that applied the CCT token standard. You minted those tokens too on Avalanche Fuji, and then you successfully sent them cross-chain to Arbitrum Sequoia securely using CCIP. For next steps, be sure to check out my blog post if you haven't, my other videos on using CCT with Remix, explore our GitHub repo and developer documentation, and please reach out to me or my team with any questions or feedback as you build. Thanks for watching, and keep coding.